Joining us on Our Kind of Music is singer-songwriter and recording artist, and most recently, American Idol contestant, David Luning. How you doing, David?
Hey, doing good. Thanks for having me.
Oh,
interview.
You know, I got to thank you because just by you appearing on American Idol, you're helping to, you're really helping to spread the word about Americana music. And I'm not the only one. I mean, there's artists out there that appreciate it, you know, that are in the same position you are. You know, you're a young artist struggling and all that, you know. I got to ask you, what attracted you to that genre of music?
Oh man, that's a long story actually.
That's okay. I got time.
All right. So actually, I was studying film scoring in Boston.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I was studying at Berklee College of Music. I was a piano player, and that's what I was going to school for. That's what I was studying in college, and at the time, I didn't really listen to country. I didn't listen to folk. I didn't listen to Americana music. I didn't listen to any of that stuff. And I was listening to a bunch of like really, really bizarre bands. But I started for some reason I had a hard time out there in Boston, and then I met these two guys, Johnny and Jordan, and they lived in my apartment building, and they would just be like, hey, you wanna come over, and we're just gonna share some songs and hang out, and and I was like, okay, all right, sure. So I went over there, and they started showing me like John Prine and Old Crow Medicine Show and Ryan Adams and stuff like that, and I hadn't really heard it before, and I guess it was pretty quick. It was like all of a sudden I was like, oh my God, that's what I have to do with my life. I need to do this kind of music. I need to do this, especially John Prine. He was a main influence to do that.
So right? You weren't exposed to John Prine until you were in your 20s or late teens?
Yeah, I was like 21.
Wow. Because the similarities really, and it's really cool. I think it's cool anyway, somebody of your age to be inspired by John Prine, because, I've been listening to him for years, but
yeah,
shit, I'm a lot older than you. So, but like, well, when he put out his first album, back in 71, he was 25 years old. So right. You're right on track, really. But that in itself, to have that kind of influence. And so were you writing lyrics before that, or?
Yeah, I had been actually in a couple bands before, but they weren't like this kind of music. They weren't Americana music. They were like more like prog rock kind of stuff, and I had definitely written, I don't know, maybe 10, 15 songs or so.
Uh-huh.
Maybe more. I don't know. Probably more.
Yeah.
But it wasn't really until I really listened to, again, John Prine, that it just kind of clicked. I guess it's like when someone talks to you about something that they think that you would love, and then you find out that it's kind of I don't know where I'm going with this, but you connect with it it just like hits super hard down here, and that's what happened with John Prine.
And you just realize that's the direction you wanted to go.
Yeah, I wrote Northern California,
mm-hmm.
and ended up because I actually had talked to my parents, and I was like, all right, well, actually, I want to leave school. I want to leave school. I want to come back to California. I want to do this, I want to do this Americana thing. And
how did that go over?
They were like, "No, you shouldn't do that. You should stay in school.
Yeah.
Finish your degree." And I said, "Okay, well, here's this song that I wrote," and I played them Northern California, and it kind of talks about like how hard it was for me in Boston, and then so they heard that song and they're like, "Okay." You can come back to California.
It's actually that's that's one of my favorite tunes on there. I mean, it's just if this style is new to you, I mean, it seems to come to you so natural though, because that tune, for instance, is just so deep and moving. I mean, really, I mean it, and I'm not just saying this, but it chokes me up, because there's parts of the country that I lived, like in Oregon and Washington, and I love it back there. And it just got me to thinking about that, and so I'm doubly impressed that, it's been a relatively short period of time that you've been working in this style.
Yeah.
So go ahead with your story, unless that was the introduction.
The end of it. It does end with, my parents said, "Yeah, come back." So that's what I did, and then started writing as much as I possibly could, and started playing open mics and stuff, and then
up there in the area.
Yeah, in Sonoma County, and then played as much as I could and wrote as much as I could, and then eventually I wrote this, and I got this band together, and actually, I joined up with West Coast Songwriters. Mm-hmm. It was a very, very cool. It's a very cool organization, based up, in California, and and they really helped me, get better with the craft.
Yeah, hone your talents and sharpen it up a little bit. Yeah, I mean, it's great to get with other songwriters like that, because things, either something they do will click with you, or vice versa. Or it amazes me the network and the connections between the generations too, of songwriters. Not just your influence by Prime, but other people that are still older than you that have their influences, and it shows, and then they pass that on to you, and it just it's something to keep that alive, but yet you're still adding yourself to it. The town you live in is a relatively small town up in Northern California, right?
Oh yeah, Forestville.
Yeah. What is it, about 5,000 people or something, or?
Yeah, I think it's about that. It could be, well, maybe 7,000.
Yeah.
7,000. But it's totally like in the trees, so you can't really. It's not like every 7,000 person is like right close together. It's all,
they're spread out.
Yeah.
Well, you play up in Truckee every once in a while, and I did send some friends of mine that live in the Tahoe area. I don't know if they said anything to you or anything, but anyway, they did report back and go, "Hey, thanks. He was great." So
right on.
Yeah, and I wish I could have made it up there myself, but it's still on my list to catch you. There's a couple of other songs I was hoping we could talk about that really surprised me, that the depth of the songs for someone your age. I mean, I hate to keep coming back to that, but
it's fine.
It is great to see. I mean, guys like you and John Fulbright, and also in his 20s. I mean, it's just amazing the talent that's out there that sometimes slip through the cracks, and you hate to see it happen that way. But just hang in there. But one of the other songs was "You, Me, and the Devil in Between."
Mm.
Where did that come from?
Well, that was kind of like a final. I had somewhat of a dysfunctional relationship, and you know, years ago. But this song kind of was the last song that I was going to write about that relationship.
Oh yeah.
I decided, I was like, okay, you know, because it just says it wasn't gonna work. It wasn't gonna work, and that's how it is. It wasn't. Yeah. It wasn't. You know, it wasn't meant to be, you know, super sad, and obviously it's not a happy song, but yeah, it was just kind of like the last song that I was going to write about how that relationship was not.
About that particular relationship. Huh?
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, because there's that theme carries a little bit through the whole album. You know, I mean, it pops up every once. I mean, even with the whiskey bottle. I mean, it's about you know, relationships that just don't happen, and I thought, you know, he's a good-looking kid. I don't feel too bad for him because, come on, I mean, it can't be that rough. But the things you pull out of the relationships, you know. But and you also had a video made of that. I mean, a video made for Whiskey Bottle too. Okay.
Yeah, that was super fun. Yeah, I worked with this guy Jared Wright, and I took it upon myself to actually make up like all the shot lists and then casting people and stuff like that, which was actually really, really fun. I felt like a filmmaker, you know.
Were they a lot of your friends that were in the video with you, or?
Yeah. Most of the people that were in there are people that I knew. The bride, however, I found her online, and she, oh god, she's so funny. She's so funny. She was such a trooper too. She was just like, all right, so here's, because the one thing is that it's not, you know, for hardcore, you know, whiskey fans. Sorry to break it to you, we're not drinking whiskey on the video because we have to shoot a lot, and we would get, you know.
You never would have finished the video.
It would have never gotten done. But we drank stale coffee, and so it was really, really gross. It was like stale coffee and water mixed, and you know, I mean, Jared's the groom. Actually, he played the groom. You know, and they're like making out in this booth, and they're just downing this like stale coffee, and I felt so bad. They're so good.
Yeah, I've done theater, and there's times you have to have you know, either wine or something or beer, but they always swap it out for something else like grape juice or something.
Yeah.
And this one night, it was our final night of the show, and it was a play where there was a lot of wine drinking during the whole show. Well, this time they put real wine in the bottles, but I wouldn't have minded that so much, but it was real shitty wine. And it was like, God, this is so tough to drink, you know. But another song on there that deals with relationships that I've listened to over and over is Waiting Room. I mean, that seems like it's very personal and so poignant, you know, too. I mean, I think I get the gist of it, but could you just explain? You know, it seems like it's a relationship that's come apart.
Yeah, it's that song is interesting for me because that was that's a song that's based in. I mean, it's based in like, you know, relationships when there's like arguments and stuff like that. But in terms of the actual. Because at one point it says, you know, that I got this phone call from this guy who said, you know, hey, it's about your wife. You need to come. You know, she's in the hospital.
Right.
That's never happened to me. I didn't have to do that. Thank God.
Yeah.
But, you know, it's interesting though, because when, you know, as a songwriter and stuff like that, writing these songs, you know, you're writing stories, and that was actually a hard song to write for me, at least.
I can imagine. You know, it's one of those types of songs that's hard to listen to, and not in a bad way. You know, I don't mean, God, that song sucks. You know, I can't listen to that again. But I mean, it's hard to listen to, especially if you've gone through something like that. I mean, it just really hits home. And but it's a beautiful song. You know, I mean, beautiful song. And sometimes you got to pull from bad experiences to put something like that together. But I got to ask you about the last song on there, "Humble Apologizing." First off, I love the opening line. "I'm drinking to forget the things I said when I was drunk and never meant." I mean, but you know, you open it with that lighthearted line, but then it does get serious though, and I mean, somewhat, you know.
It kind of teeter-totters. It's like that song. I like that song. That song was interesting for me because during that time, you know, when I wrote that in Boston also.
Oh, okay.
And when I was there, and it was kind of like a joke about feeling like you're not all together, you know, like you're kind of like you don't have everything together, but it is supposed to be kind of like not a joke, but a playful, you know, a playful apology, I guess.
Yeah. And it was a good way to cap off the album too. I want to talk a little bit about the American Idol experience for you. And I know we can't talk about you know, what hasn't aired and stuff like that, you know. And their publicist sent me that cyanide pill that I'm supposed to take if you do say something that I'm not supposed to hear. I guess they probably didn't send you one because they got to keep you around. But that had to be exciting for you. Now, doesn't that start out as just like a big mass audition that they weed it down to the auditions that we saw you on back on the 16th?
I mean, I can't again. I can't really talk about the process.
Oh, okay.
How that happens.
I guess I'm going to edit all this out then.
No, that's okay. I mean, but you know that whole process is very intense, and it's very exciting. You know, but it is very intense. You know, you are with thousands and thousands of people,
right?
And they're all wanting this like super hard, and they really want it, and
they all want that gold ticket.
They want the gold ticket, and you know, there's a lot of good voices, and so I mean, to make it to see the judges, and by the way, you cannot prepare yourself for being in front of Jennifer Lopez, and Harry Connick Jr. There's nothing that you can do. I mean, unless you've met him before.
Yeah.
But there's still nothing you can do to like prepare. You can rehearse your song over and over again. You can like think of things that they might say. You know, all this stuff. But then
when it comes to the moment, you know, yeah, exactly. And I couldn't help it. I was trying to read the look on Keith Urban's face. I mean, I'm imagining he was sitting there going, "Damn, you know." This kid's good, you know.
It was tough, you know, because they're very good at what they do.
Yeah,
they're being judges on you know, because they don't give it away as except for Jennifer Lopez did say that she loves it, which was really cool.
Yeah,
you know?
That was like about halfway through, you know, and when she said I love it, you know, I thought, well, he's got that vote, and I mean, I'll be honest with you. I would have missed the show if I hadn't gotten a call from a friend of mine. He's also a singer-songwriter here in Vegas. And he sent me a message saying, "Hey, David Luning's going to be on in just a few minutes. Turn it on." You know, because he saw it before. And because I'd been out of town for a few days and just wasn't paying attention to, you know, everything that was going on. Obviously, the whole it can be intimidating because of what's going on. But and then when you said I'm going to do an original on that program, that's a ballsy thing to do. It's not a real popular thing to do on there. You know, they typically like covers. And you only get, what, a minute to perform?
Yeah, it's usually like it's about like a verse chorus.
Yeah.
Typical, yeah. Yeah.
And what was that song that you did?
That song is called In Hell I Am. That's a new one. Yeah, I'm actually currently in the process of recording that song.
Great.
Yeah, so it should be out soon.
Okay. Well, keep me posted on that.
I will.
All right, man. And the other thing I couldn't help but think, you know, you had to have been thinking, God, being on this show is really going to help get me laid. No? Okay, maybe exposure was what you were going for. But
yeah, I mean sorry. Okay. Yeah, I mean American Idol is a huge platform and a huge opportunity to get music out to, you know, millions of people.
Yeah,
and
yeah.
I mean it was kind of an it made a lot of sense to do it. You know, because and that's the one thing you need is like a singer-songwriter. You need people to hear you, and you need people to, you know, see you perform and get your music out there. And then, you know, American Idol is in front of 18 million people or so. Mm-hmm. So, I mean, for that episode, it gets more like later on. But
yeah. When it gets into the Hollywood things and those shows, but and just the fact that you qualified it with I play Americana music. You know, that made me smile because, you know, it surprises me how many people just aren't aware of the genre. You know, they may have heard something, you know, oh yeah, I like that, but you know, they're not aware that there is this whole culture that's out there that's you know, bringing back the well, it's been around forever, but I think it's coming on stronger now, and it's
I definitely think so too.
And things like what you're doing really help.
It is cool. I definitely want to get, you know, Americana music, not because it's just what I do,
right?
But just because, you know, Americana music is amazing, and I want, you know, a lot of people to know about it. And
right.
So that's the other thing that I was like really clear. I was like definitely going to talk about Americana music and on the show and hopefully get, you know, more people aware of Americana music. Cause, yeah, it's amazing.
Well, okay, your first album, your debut album, just drop on by, came out, what, 2012?
Yeah, December 2012.
Yeah, and like I said, I've been listening to it since early last year because I used to live in Eugene, Oregon, and there was a radio program there that I always listened to. Yeah. And even when we moved from Eugene and moved back to Las Vegas, I still listened to him online, you know, and he was playing cuts off of your album every once in a while, you know, and he was really talking it up. And so that's what made me check it out. And like I said, I've been listening to it for over a year now, and I haven't gotten tired of it yet. Yeah. So I want to know what you're working on now. I mean, what's next?
Well, I am right now is kind of like the accumulation right now. It's like the I'm planning everything for this next record. You know, I want to do some cool things with it. I want to the goal is to have like a co-producer on there because I produced the last one. And
oh, really? Okay.
Yeah, I did. I'm kind of crazy like that. I'll like, for instance, that record, I actually like produced it and engineered the majority of it, like 95% of it, and then
wow.
Edited it, mixed it, and did a bunch of stuff on it. But I'm thinking probably for this next one,
you're gonna pull somebody else in.
Yeah, yeah. Have someone else come in and have some other input. And,
well, I tell you, it definitely had a polished sound to it, but but not overly polished. It still sounded, still had an organic, real sound to it, and I can't say enough about it. Without I don't know. I turn friends onto it, and as much as I can, and that's what it's all about. I don't get deterred when I show somebody an album and they go, well, I've never heard of them. I just say, well, you should, and I give them the album, just listen to it and please give it back,
I know.
So you don't have a timeline as far as when another album's going to come out. Yeah, you're not to that point.
Not quite.
Yeah.
I would like to have it out by spring.
Oh, really? Oh, okay.
Yeah, I wanted to do this one quick.
This spring? I mean,
Yeah.
that quick? Oh.
Well, okay, maybe summer.
Maybe summer. That's still good. Okay. Tell everybody where they can find your music.
Yeah, you can find my music at davidluning.com. That's David, LUNING.com, or on Facebook. Please like me on Facebook. And Twitter is also /David Luning, and Tumblr as well.
You're just everywhere.
And on YouTube,
Okay. Okay.
Has sites on.
And where can they buy your music? I think you're on CD Baby.
Yeah, you can buy my music on almost everywhere. iTunes, Amazon, on my website, on CD Baby, on all that stuff. Oh, and I'm also on Pandora, and yeah, I don't know.
Well, I know you're also on Spotify too. Well, man, I want to thank you for taking the time out to do this. I've been wanting to talk to you for a long time, and hopefully we'll get to meet face to face here sometime in the next year. Either at one of your shows or something like that. All right.
Yeah. Thank you so much.
Oh yeah. Hey,
yeah.
Best of luck to you. I couldn't wish any more for you than I am. So I really appreciate it. Thanks, David.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
Okay.